In my world, everyone talks about automation all day long, but a lot of businesses don't really know anything about it. And one of the things that I think people should be thinking about is business operations and how to automate them. What has your experience been? What's the state of affairs of e-commerce and manufacturing and automation?
Great question. I mean, there's a lot to that piece too. Um, with the e-commerce piece, you have the leg up to where you can easily add automation to so many of your tools, whether it's attribution, whether it's order management, whether it's even shipping, there's so many different pieces you can go into that. And then coupling it with manufacturing, I mean, manufacturing is getting crazy these days with how much they are. Sorry about that. They are utilizing robotics, utilizing AI to really just scale their models. I mean, the vendors that we use overseas are automatic enameling machines, automatic presses. In the past, there would be a team of, let's say, 300 that would do the manufacturing, and they can get the same output with about 180, 200. Um, so you're looking at less payroll, less man hours, to really do a more pristine job. So, um, it's crazy. I mean, when we've gone over there and visited, again, these automatic enameling machines, the automatic presses when they're stamping out molds, have just been a game changer over there. They're not cheap pieces of equipment, so not the smaller manufacturers can't afford them. But I see like the bigger manufacturers really taking over and kind of pushing out some of the smaller ones with these massive scaled robotic AI machines. It's very cool.
Hey, business leaders and marketers. What if your brand could be featured right here? This ad spot could be yours. This channel is watched by a dedicated audience of ambitious founders, executives, and professionals who are actively looking for tools and services to help their business grow. If you want to put your brand in front of this highly dedicated audience that's difficult to reach, I'm currently looking for a few strategic partners for the channel. To learn more about sponsorship opportunities, click the link in the description. Let's grow together. So, when was the last time you went? I'm guessing it was to China.
Yeah. Yep. We had a team go back in October. I actually didn't get the chance to go, but watched a ton of videos, video called with them. We actually had some visit us yesterday. So lots of videos, lots of video chats, lots of video calls, and really dialing in their process and watching them dial in their process is so cool.
How does that happen? I've never seen something like that. So explain it if you can.
Which element? Um,
Dialing in their processes. Like, is it something that you can see happening on the call? Is it something that takes time and this is a process-based thing that you're talking about?
yeah, no, it's kind of been an evolution, really. Because we like to hop on video calls with them at least once a quarter to check in, and we work with about 8 different manufacturers overseas. Most of them are in China. We have one in Bangladesh, one in Vietnam. Um, we've seen their process go from 20 workers sitting at a table hand filling enamel pieces, sometimes as many as 50 in like white coats, um just sitting there in like these big dust free facilities, because you don't want like a speck of dust to hit the enamel. It'll create an imperfection. We've seen that go move to these ro- for lack of a better word, like robotic arms to where they fill the enamel in these machines. They set them all out on a tray, put them in, and the machine actually fills it automatically. That evolution watching was in our industry like a massive game changer over there, because yeah, you're taking 50 workers and now you need 5 that can do the same process. And the level of there's imperfections with hand filling enamel. It's just the human nature, and you can get it to a T with these enameling machines. That's one piece we've seen um really be a game changer over there. So, and I'm excited to see what like the next process is um over there for manufacturing.
How expensive is it to go and invest in these kinds of machines?
Oh, they're not cheap. They're not cheap. I don't know exactly to be to be exactly sure. I can imagine they're hundreds of thousands of dollars. Um, there was a vendor that we worked with that started in 2014 with a small crew of like 10 people, and now they're at like at 400 with these enabling machines. And all the profit I know they put right back into the manufacturing and equipment. But I'm sure that their building is like 15,000 square feet. Um, it's a massive operation over there. I mean, I imagine they're multiple millions of dollars in equipment from all their stages of processing. So that means they needed to, take in a lot of orders too. They need to pump out a good volume and an excellent quality to keep their business alive.
So you were saying you're not just helping them to work with the automation of their production lines, but also with the business processes. You're talking about order management and things like that. Why don't you talk about more about that?
Sure, sure, sure. Like on our end, um, we will send like when a customer gets ready and places an order with us, we send a purchase order over there, and they begin production um, on the order. As far as managing that order on our end, a lot of the products that we produce take time to produce. Some of them as much as 6 weeks. So managing hundreds and hundreds of orders on the back end can be a daunting task, especially with the amount that we scaled right around 2020, 2021. All of a sudden we were getting an influx of people calling, hey, where's my order? Hey, what's going on? We created like a big bottleneck when we were scaling, and because of the time it took to produce. So we needed to develop a like more touch points within the customer instead of wasting a bunch of time for our reps and our customer service to answer the call. And the customer gets annoyed too when they're like, it's been 3 weeks, I haven't heard from you guys, what's going on? What we used with AI was and we use Monday for our like an order management system, monday.com. Was a series of touch points along the way to check in with the customer. So, hey, your order's in production, your order's in queue, your order's in the plating stage, your order's in the enameling stage, your order's finishing packaging. Now it's shipping. Here's the tracking number. Um, Touch points along the way have helped massively that 3 week, 4 week in between time where customers don't know what's going on. Also, it's been an like a chance to upsell too. So in that time when they get those emails or texts, you can throw out stickers. Hey, we do add-ons, little things like that. So in order management, I think a lot of like DTC e-commerce businesses don't have that because they sell a product, it ships the next day, they're good, one-time customers. We're kind of in a unique model where it takes us a little while to produce, their custom product. Here's one we did for Bentley. We did a custom letter opener for them. Um, pretty sweet little product, but this took I think 5 weeks to produce, and that was after artwork is approved, 3D mock-ups are approved. I mean, it takes time to produce some cool stuff like that.
It took time to get the base form of what you were going to make,
Hmm.
but it took 5 minutes. It took 5 weeks from when they said, "Okay, go." Looks like they ordered like what 10,000 of these, something like that, and it took 5 weeks to make the 10,000 units, something like that.
Yeah, and that does include the importing of it too. So air freight, which I mean, a week typically to do that. So yeah, once we get the go, the 3D mock-ups are approved. They give us the green light. 5 weeks for them from start of building the mold till they have it in their hands, really. And 5 weeks is on a pretty extreme scale. Most of the time,
That
we
doesn't sound
can
that
do it
bad.
2, 3. I know, right? Yeah, you'd be surprised in the Amazon age. People want 2 day; they want it yesterday. So
Yeah, but you're doing a business to business custom solution, like, and it's coming from overseas. Of course, that's not going to come in a day or two.
yeah, me and you think alike, but not. And especially like large corporations that come to us with their, it's typically like a marketing team, and they're put on, like, I guess their executives are putting pressure on them, and then they're putting pressure on their employees, and it's like we get that so much.
They probably spent 6 months trying to figure out if they want to work with you.
Yep. Yep.
And then you sign a contract and they're like, all right, why isn't it done yet? And you're like, I just got the contract signed yesterday, man. Give me a minute.
Yeah, exactly. Speed is such a um overlooked thing. I feel like craftsmanship, speed is, yeah, in today's world, people want things so fast, and we're forced to automate our processes, or we kind of get left in the dust, then move on to the next thing. They want a mug now. They don't want the letter opener. We're just going to get mugs from our other guy who can print them in 10 days, or whatever. So,
What kind of things have you noticed recently that have made you feel the pressure to automate your own business?
I like that question. Looking at competitors, I think, and what they're doing with their websites, and maybe not even direct competitors, just other websites that are on the cutting edge. It really put a stamp on us that we have to get ahead of this, or we're going to get left behind. I mean, one example is there's a competitor of ours that has a tool on their website that is a image editor, an AI image editor. It's not the greatest tool. I mean, it's kind of fun to play around with, but we aren't even on that stage yet. To be honest, we are adding like an editor, an AI mock-up tool on the is months away for us, and they're already unrolling it. So that that they unrolled that, I don't know, it was 6 months ago or so, and that really drove home to us that we need to really get serious about AI, about automations, about really the customer journey and implementing these tools, or we're not going to be able to scale like we want to, essentially.
So, this is what, like a tool that lets you upload the thing that you want to be produced in a way that also kind of turns it into a 3D model from like a 2D image or something? Or
Theirs doesn't do a 3D model. It's pretty basic. It's very like stage one beta version, and it's just for a couple of their products. They do it for patches, so you could upload your logo, and let's here's a patch here that we did. You could upload, or you could just write in text like this and create a simple flat patch like that with it. Nothing 3D yet, but the tool was really cool. I mean, it gave the option to upload your logo and see rudimentary, simple, idea of what it'll look like without having a graphic designer too involved.
I feel like you could probably vibe code that.
I think so too. That's so funny.
Like I don't know why you're talking about months. You're like, it's months away. I'm like, why isn't it like minutes away?
That's I just got on the Replit train like 2 weeks ago. And Lovable and like using it for tools like that. I've designed like I used to use Bolt AI and like have done some kind of fun things with it. But the one snag that we have that I think is very fixable though with Replit is it outputs all of it in JavaScript, which is fine for a tool like that. It's just we're so SEO friendly that and Google doesn't like JavaScript as much as it likes simple HTML, CSS. Um,
All you need is to be able to have the wording. You just put SEO around the tool, but the tool exists as the language it needs to be in inside of your website.
yeah, yep, and you're 100% right. You kind of blanket it in, your tool, and then have all your code and HTML and everything else. It shouldn't be that hard, but
You could probably you could probably even SEO proof the code itself.
mhm.
So you could say like the name of the tool is related to the thing that you want that to rank for. It's like, AI powered, upload your image and see how it looks without a graphic designer in 5 seconds or less, or we give you a free pizza. I don't know.
There you go. I like it.
Whatever
Free coupon to Domino's. Yeah.
yeah, like some people will call, uh, they'll do cold email outreach and they'll go, I'm going to give you a $15 gift card to Amazon. Just show up to the call
Yeah, I've gotten
and you get
those.
it.
Yeah. I've
And they
never
get
actually
like a bunch
showed
of
up to the
people.
call though. Yeah, it is enticing. It gets me to at minimum open the email. And that's, with the amount of outreach emails we get, that's a leg up. We get hundreds every day. So, do you do vibe? I mean, what's your favorite vibe coding tool? Lovable. What do you like?
I use Cursor with Claude 4.5 currently.
Hmm.
Yeah. I started off on Lovable and then uh, I I joined a community of vibe coding people. This is like 7 or 8 months ago. And they were like, screw Lovable, you should use Cursor because Cursor is closer to the developer's environment that they typically use with a local where the files are the repository is cloned to your local hard drive. And so developers typically will develop locally and then if there's no issues, they'll push it to the repository.
Nice.
And then from there, whatever you're branching and all of that. I mean, I don't know if you've ever worked with any of that stuff, but um, it gets more complicated. Yeah, so I used to have a software company, so we had multiple branches that we worked with, and all the developers had their own systems, and they all developed locally, and then they all pushed to the development branch from their local drive, and blah 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 blah. So I learned from them best practices because I'm not a technical founder, but I learned from them best practices for development and branch management and pushing the code and quality testing, quality assurance and all that. So I I learned from them. It was a very expensive lesson, but I learned from them how to take an idea, develop it, and launch, and get it to production, which a lot of people that vibe code don't have that experience, and so they don't know how to do it. And so a lot of people say the code sucks. Your code can't be like the funny thing is I had spent 3 months building a SaaS tool and got it to production, and I told the people in that community, and they're like, "You can't do that." I'm like, "What do you mean you can't do that?" They're like, "You can't vibe code your way to a production tool." I go, "I just did."
That's insane.
They're like, "You can't do it. Like, it just doesn't work." It was it was a full on SaaS, like it's a full on B2B SaaS with a website and everything. And the goal was to connect to your QuickBooks. This is not for e-commerce brands. But the goal is to connect to your QuickBooks, ignore the revenue, and only focus on the expenditures, where you could then see every line of money that went out and all of the details around it, like the QuickBooks would show you, where the goal is to be able to accurately see where your company is spending money so that you could then determine whether you should be trying to rein in certain expenses or cancel certain expenses like subscriptions, things like that. And um, I had built a budget. So like you can say this is my budget for this kind of an expense, and then you would be able to see what you've actually spent balanced against what you expect to spend or what you want to spend. So you could see if you're under budget or over budget or just on, where you should be for each of those categories. But then also add a subscription manager. So it would say, I think this isn't a subscription. Is this a subscription? Yes, it is. Okay. Do you want this to be a subscription or do you want to get rid of this? Blah, blah, blah. So like those kinds of details, those nuances. Um, then I had built a ChatGPT powered chatbot that was able to actually read the database so you could communicate with it about your expenses.
Oh, I like that too. That's just so you connected to the QuickBooks API and just ran kind of like that.
Yeah, the actual software was pretty easy for me to build. It was the QuickBooks APIs, webhooks, and different refresh tokens and all of those things that were an absolute nightmare.
That's so funny. QuickBooks is a nightmare. I'll say that. It has its place and but I'm not good at it. So
I actually had 4 businesses ready to pay me to join, and they were all and the focus for me was these were people I found from the podcast. They were guests that were running businesses. They were spending over $1 million a year within their business. And I feel like that's where this really starts to become necessary because it's no longer just the founder of the business spending money. There's now maybe like a financial officer or an operations officer or a technical officer or a marketing officer. Everyone's got different budgets, right? So at that point, you've got multiple people that have control over where money goes. And so somebody has to make sure that people aren't stealing money or that there's double charges on things that shouldn't have happened or that there's subscriptions that are unnecessary but are continuing to exist, a lot of different things. And so I wanted to work with companies that spent over $1 million a year in order to justify what I wanted to charge them for the service. um, and it was working. I got everything working. It was perfectly good. I was ready to get those companies on, and then I had made an update and it broke the API relationship.
oh,
And I spent weeks trying to fix it and I couldn't. And I said, I'm just going to give this up. But like, I could probably spend $5,000 to some developer who could fix it and it probably make it work forever again, like better again. But then what if it breaks in the middle of like having people pay me?
yeah,
I can't.
onboarding.
I, you know, But yeah, that could just from those 4 customers, it would be a 6-figure, you know, 6-figure ARR. But
could see how it would work and be beneficial in our business because we audit those quarterly. We audit our subscription services and do a big one yearly and how much we're spending. And budgets are always a quarterly. At least for me, I'm like, oh, we got to do our budget this quarter. We got for next quarter. I'm like, ah,
Just hire someone.
it's tiresome. Yeah, that's true too. Yeah.
But that's what like an accountant is for, or a comptroller is for.
Yeah, and we have a finance director, James, and he's wonderful. He kills it, but it's just that aspect. What I like in the business is building landing pages, working on processes, writing content
AI can do
for
all that.
pages. Yeah, AI can do that. AI is such a massively awesome tool to do that. It's still we still need. There's still some human touch that that needs to be added, at least for in the realm of like wanting to rank in on Google. But AI content still does fine, and I've seen AI. There was a website AI Invest, if you've ever heard of it. They they are 100% AI content. They don't hide it. They have off AI authors on their pages, and they skyrocketed. I mean, they were getting millions and millions of clicks per month, and then Google finally dropped the hammer on them. But they still rank very well, and it's very user friendly. Awesome articles written very well. I imagine their prompts are crazy long, but yeah, you can all those things you can help. The old ways of hiring a writer, hiring a developer to build your pages, I mean it's exciting. It's awesome. I'm a one man band can do so much.
Yeah, I mean, I literally built a business that was ready to
Yeah.
have multiple, you know, multiple clients by myself. Where 5 years ago, my tech company had a full time team of 17, and we couldn't push anything out fast enough.
Yeah. Yeah, even last week we had a problem with the form where in certain browsers it wasn't allowing you to upload an image or a file, and we were like, what is going on? It would have been a call to our developers. It would have been a meeting. It could have taken days or however long, and paying them however much. I threw the code into Claude. It diagnosed the JavaScript error, gave me the code to put in. It was super simple too, and the problem was fixed in a half hour.
Do you see the environment? Like, you're looking at the code at all? Like, are you, so you open the files, you can see the code, but you don't touch the code yourself.
I do, yeah.
Okay.
I definitely do. HTML, CSS, all that. I can totally do myself. Um, and JavaScript, I'm not nearly as good at. But it is a fairly simple language. It's not the most complex once you see like the basic elements of it. It's very fun too, um, but yeah, in the past, I mean, we're paying developers a lot of money to do stuff that AI can do like that. It's so nice.
Yeah, people don't realize that there's developers that still put their head in the sand and go, AI can't do that. And then you go, but it just did.
Yeah,
And you're like, well, it can't do that at scale. It's like, yeah, but it's doing it at scale. Like their head is in their ass.
there are. Yeah, I've seen it cause issues in certain cases, but I feel like a lot of that was me not giving it the correct information to work with. Um, And I think that is kind of the bottleneck for a lot of developers is, well, maybe they're afraid of job security too. I mean, that could be a big one. They're like, they don't want to admit that their job's going away, but
Well, yeah, I mean, like I talked to my brother about this because a long time ago he works in marketing automation now. He did finance. He works for Intercontinental,
oh,
the
nice.
like headquarters in Atlanta. The first time around, he worked with him for a number of years, doing more like financial risk assessment. But now he's a little bit more into the marketing automation side. And he figured out how to automate. Let's say got to do a standard 45 hours a week. He's automated 15 hours of his work. So 15 hours a week, he doesn't have to work, and he's still getting paid for that. And I'm like, why don't you offer to automate more of the business? He's like, if they know that I could automate more of the business, at some point I'm gonna be necessary anymore. He's like, so I
Consult.
need to. Well, he was consulting them at some point, and then decided to go back to being an employee because they offered him like twice what his original salary was.
Nice.
And he was able to get all of the benefits back, and he was able to get they reinstated him as if he had never quit. So they gave him all of the benefits of those extra years. It was like 6 or 7 years he wasn't working for them, and then he went back, and basically doubled his salary and gave him a crap ton more benefits to do like to sit around and do pretty much the same amount of work or less.
That's so funny. That's yeah. Uh, eh, Developing AI businesses where you can consult and work within companies to automate their processes, their archaic processes, I think is a gold mine for people. Um, I was even talking to my father-in-law who works for a local just insurance agency, State Farm. He was going over all the manual data entry that he does, that he pays someone to do, and just like a secretary, a local person. And I'm like, man, you could totally have AI do all that. It would be a simple to automate. Your data entry is, no one should be doing data entry anymore. He's like, no, 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 no. I'm not playing with that. I mean, yeah, developing a business like that is genius.
Yeah. Well, it's part of what Mark's doing,
Nice.
the guy that I had introduced you to off air.
Yeah.
So, for those without reference. So, what's the most important thing that you've learned in your business so far?
Oh man, there's the most important thing that I've learned in my business so far is I think that hmm, that's a great question. I want to go a lot of different ways with it. I'd say that the most important thing that I've learned is that it's probably way harder than I thought. To be perfectly honest, it's there's a lot of late nights staying up. There's a lot of early mornings. There's a lot of things breaking, and you having to figure it out. I really had a roadmap when we first bought it, and I thought this was going to be we do this, we do this, we do this, we do this, and we are scaling to the moon. And it's been there a lot more than I thought, and but I love every minute of it. It's a blast, and I'm working on something that's growing, and it's so much fun. But I think the for most entrepreneurs, that like the YouTubers make it sound so easy. A lot of them, the Alex Hermosis of the world, and um it's a lot of there's a lot that goes into it, and unexpected problems that happen. That was kind of a cop out answer, I think, but I think it's very true.
Well, if you want to give it another go, you can.
The most important thing I've learned in the business, round two, um I want to say that your employees are your business too. That's been a big realization for us. Treating your employees well is huge. Because I can't do it alone. I can do a lot of things, and AI can do a lot of things, but I can't do everything by any means. And having a really strong culture and making people feel happy to come to work and compensated well, and you generally get a lot more out of them. I mean, the previous founder didn't prioritize that very much. I mean, as much as we do, I should say. Um, and we have crazy. People stay here for years and years, and we like to have like a fun environment. I didn't know beginning opening the business how much crucial that was, um, and it's massive. I think we've all had those like crap jobs where we're like the boss is an a-hole and like yeah,
Yes,
exactly. I've had a few over the years.
that was my last job I ever had.
Exactly. And no one likes those. Those aren't fun. Those stink, and that's the last thing we want to do. I'd rather um, make a little less to have a happy work environment.
Thanks for watching. If you liked this insight, I've handpicked another video for you right here on the screen. For more actionable strategies that get you real results, hit subscribe.